Hello, I'm Katie.
And I'm Nicole.
And this is the position paper writing intro.
Now, the difference between a report and a position is sometimes difficult to understand. In a report, you were reporting on a divisive issue from as many angles as possible, covering as many different opinions as you could, objectively, explaining the strengths and weaknesses of each side. In the position paper,
you are going to argue for your position on the issue or subject, topic, whatever that you have been focusing on for the report. To do that, you will need to fully understand what your position is, where your position comes from. That's based on your values, your beliefs, possibly your culture, your political views, and other aspects of your life. You might want to also consider your education to help you understand your position and where it comes from. You can't argue for a position unless you understand where that position comes from.
And unless you understand what the other positions are as well. That's why you started with the report, is to try to understand your divisive issue from as many perspectives as possible. So now in the position, when you take your own perspective, you will understand where you are arguing from and what other people think, and you'll be able to incorporate all of that to make your position stronger.
Furthermore, you will also understand how your position fits within the other conversations going on about the topic, subject, or issue that you're dealing with in all of your writing for this semester.
So we want to explain a little bit about what argument is. And first we need to say that every time we say argument, that term can be interchanged with position. So position and argument are the same thing, and we'll be saying both of them. An argument is devoted to understanding and analyzing the differences that divide people on a particular issue. So even though the report is really about understanding and about informing your audience of your issue, the argument further seeks to understand the differences and the problem that people are disagreeing about solving or resolving whatever issue it is that you've chosen to research.
It's also a way to attempt to find a consensus between the different sides on the issue. So you need to look at the argument paper, the position paper, as not just trying to win an argument, but trying to understand where your argument fits in with the larger debate about the issue. If you don't do that, then what you'll most likely be doing is involving yourself in a shouting match. And yes, you can shout on paper.
So the argument paper is not about scoring points in a shouting match. It's about arguing a claim and strongly supporting it. It's more like a debate than an argument. And it's not an us versus them type of situation either. It's not about flattening your opponent. It's just about proving that your side has good, strong evidence and reasons why the reader should side with your side.
In order to do that, you need to understand how a reasonable person from the opposition would have the feelings, thoughts, beliefs, and argument points that they have for their position. And then that will help you better understand your position. So like Nicole said and I've said, it's not about winning or scoring points. It's about the most valid way to go about showing how someone reasonable would have and hold the position that you hold. And in doing that, you invite members that agree with you and disagree with you into a conversation. So argument isn't what you see on the news, or, well, sometimes you see it on the news, but it's not what you see on shows like Hannity, the O'Reilly Factor,
Jon
Stewart, the Huffington Post, and some of those other forms of media. It's not he who shouts the loudest wins. It's he who has the most valid claims supports their argument best. And that's what you need to view argument as.
It's about a dialogue, and together, two sides of an opposing issue are, eventually trying to get to the same point, and that is solving the problem. There's no reason to argue about it and assert your position so aggressively if you're not seeking to find a solution to the problem. This is why arguments exist. And so you could take, the opposite side of somebody else on the same issue, but both of you are ultimately trying to find a solution to the problem. So in that sense, you are working with your opponent in the argument process.
And a good example of this, if you know your American history, would be to look back at the debates going on with the Founding Fathers and getting rid of the Articles of Confederation and trying to establish and formulate a constitution. What kind of Senate should we have? What kind of representation should we have? All of those were arguments and debates that were going on. But they were ultimately trying to reach a consensus on how best to establish a legitimate, strong, democratic government in order to provide what was best for the people. of the newly formed United States. If it had just, and I'm sure that there was shouting and yelling and screaming going on, but if that's where it ended, then nothing would have been accomplished. The fact that they were able to see each other's points, see the validity of the arguments and debates going on, helped the Founding Fathers reach a consensus on what the Constitution should contain, what it should leave out, and what it should leave open.
The reason that you chose to engage in research and argument on your divisive issue is because you'd like to see it solved, and a lot of other people would like to see it solved as well. So the purpose is the same. You're both trying, everybody is working to try to find the best solution to the problem. So like the Founding Fathers disagreeing about how to write the Declaration and the Constitution, you will be trying to figure out the best solution for your problem, something that would make everybody, make things work and everybody can live with.
Finally, you acted as reporters for the report. Now you're going to act as commentators for the position paper. So yes, you need to show what your angle is, how you're approaching that angle, and how to argue your position, and especially what the valid points for your position are. In order to do that, you need to understand that you have to make a claim. This is in your textbook on position writing. And in order to support a claim, you have to provide reasons that a reasonable person would make a claim like the one that you're making, and you support those reasons with evidence. So this all goes back to supporting something. So you make a claim, the reasons support the claim, and the evidence supports the reasons which support the claim. These are the three basic and most important parts of writing a position paper and arguing for a position.
So now you can finally let go of all those opinions you were wanting to unleash in the report writing process, and you can let them come out as intelligent, well-stated positions, claims in the position paper.